How are we doing, everybody? This is WhiteFlash with a Ploiesti Outskirts update. There are a lot of different changes for the first Master League tournament coming up. I wanted to go through some of these and fill everybody in. I could have typed up an article, but it's a pain in the ass. Figure a video might be easier here on a Sunday. So, the first change is maybe a little bit obvious is the height of these containers. So these have been shrunk down in all areas of the map. That's going to allow better site access for people who are playing, and if there are mines being laid behind these, they'll be easier to catch, things like that. They've also been moved in, so this way and this way, in order to improve the dynamics of this area. Green cover has been added here and here on the end of the pipes. The pipe length has also been shortened on both sides. I've added green foliage because someone mentioned this is too gray, brownish, and they're 100% right. So I've added some green to spice up the color palette here. You know, a few things here and there. Well, we're going to go over that later, actually. Down by the bases, hedgerow locations have been shifted, and asymmetric green cover has been added. Obviously, this is true for both sides. This area here has been opened up so that the base sector guy has a better vision for packs to get shots into light armor that comes through here. Another thing about the center is these have been shifted down, these barrels, sort of away from the center a little bit. The outside sectors have been moved closer to the inside of the map, so the fuel in particular, also the cutoff. These points have been shifted inward more to make the map more compact in the width directions. Another big change here is this area in particular. This section of the hedge has been moved over and increased in width. There are shot blocking pieces, likewise here, which Von Ivan and Bowlang have both corroborated. There needs to be something to block people when vehicles are retreating through here to give a little bit of shot blocking so people aren't doing shot fires through these hedgerows early on in the game. That I've implemented over here as well. There's also a piece of asymmetric green cover there, so defenders coming out onto the map have more staying power. So this hedgerow is a major change. Its location primarily. Obviously, this is asymmetric on the other side. Another big change is that the default view is what you're seeing here. So it's been more an east-west-ish, north-west, southeast-ish rotation. There's also been a piece of green cover added on the corner of this large building so you can come in here and contest the building easier. And it gives some more asymmetric green cover for both sides. There was some discussion about the light armor on this map being very, very strong, which there might be some merit to that, but there's been, at the same time, parallel discussion about landmines being very strong on this map, which I might actually agree with both points. And what you might be thinking is, well, if mines are very strong and light vehicles are very strong, mines counter light vehicles almost directly, especially if there are a lot of good spots to place them, like here and here. And obviously base entrances if they're trying to rush. But these positions here and these positions here are excellent mining positions. So the discussion around strong mines sort of counters light vehicles, especially when the locations are known. But that's obviously to be seen. More testing needed on the map. I haven't seen light vehicles being OP on this map. There's been great mine play. And I've been watching a lot of matches on this map, especially in the last week. I've gone through probably 18 matches in like 3 days. Something ridiculous. Or 3-4 days. So that is to be seen, and I look forward to seeing more matches on it. There was an asymmetry. This green asymmetric cover was near this VP. There was another piece of asymmetric green cover, but this green cover for some reason was still way back here. That's actually been fixed. That was my fault. That was something I caught during replay watching here. We've also got these sections of green cover here. These used to be all asymmetric, where there would be yellow cover forcing the south player in this case and the north player in this case. It would give them asymmetric usage of this green cover. That's now been changed, so this green cover can be used by either players, more or less. An important change. And the last thing and the most important thing I want to talk about is these buildings. The buildings have been controversial in an interesting way, where people have been discussing the fact that they have to play around these buildings. I think it was Barker who I was talking to. I can't remember his name. In one of the show matches that was done, he's talking about how he had to play around these buildings. Bartertown was his name. He had to play around these buildings, and we sort of had a private discussion with a screen share showing him that the whole point of these buildings is to play through them because of the entrances that exist and its size and the fact that it gives you very quick access to a cutoff, the center of the map, or the trench, and can be used in different ways depending on if you're the attacking or defending player. And after that discussion, he was much more enlightened than I hope everybody is after kind of looking at this in that way. It's not an object to be played around, it's an object to be played through. Obviously, AT guns still have to traverse, but this trench back here gives decent access to the entirety of the map. Now, the buildings have also... there's been some talk about FHQ. What if a player comes in and FHQs these buildings? Part of my solution here, not for FHQ, but for the buildings being strong garrisons, is that the building's health's been reduced. They're at about 50% health, both of them. And in order to handle FHQ, FHQ, in my personal opinion, has been overpowered for a long, long time on the grounds that once a player establishes an FHQ, you have to destroy the building for it to go away. So on a map like Crossroads, it can break that map. If you're the south player and you occupy the stone building in the center with an FHQ. That, to me, points to a broken ability, not a map issue. Because I'm getting the same problem here. And actually, there's a bunch of maps I've looked at where it could break that if people bothered to use it. And after I actually had a very interesting discussion with Elpern, who suggested the following, and it is implemented on this map. This building, likewise with its neighbor in the north, is not in a sector per se. So you can cap all the sectors around this, but you still cannot FHQ this building because it's technically in a null sector. So you can see there's just some gaps essentially where the sectors are. Now that makes it so that you cannot FHQ these buildings, but keep in mind, if you have something like partisans, you can still spawn them in these buildings. So to my knowledge, it doesn't break any other abilities in the game. It only prevents FHQs from being established, which I think will be a big improvement. After thinking about it, I think it'll be such a big improvement that I'm going to implement that on every map that I make, because the FHQ problem that's been lingering hasn't really been addressed by anyone. And although my personal opinion on balance is one thing where I think more aggressive action should be taken where there's obvious problems, in this particular case, I can actually affect a change that will protect the map from a broken ability. So this nulled sector, I've also gone ahead and done that on, I suppose we can show this while we're doing it. I've also gone ahead and done that on Nexus. I've done it on Crossroads Winter. I've done it on Alliance of Defiance. And I've also changed Crossroads, which I haven't had to do in a very, very long time, so that the null sectors exist on these buildings. So FHQ will not be able to be used on any map that I make from here forward. Now keep in mind, this is only true in the workshop because I have to wait for personnel to actually push these maps into the ladder because we haven't had a map patch super recently. And when that map patch comes out, you can look for these changes. I really wish we had a more aggressive approach from everyone involved on fixing things that are clearly broken specifically for ladder. And yeah, this is something I'm doing to protect my maps. And I would urge any other world builder out there who is looking at their maps to think about FHQ and what it could do to break your map, because you only need one game in a high stakes tournament for thousands of dollars to go sideways with an ability that's broken like that to basically ruin the match and ruin the competition and make the map look less high quality than it really is. So I would urge all mappers to take a serious look at nulling buildings to protect their map from this problem. And a simple fix for FHQ, for anyone who cares, I don't even know if it's possible or not, would be to make it so it is decappable. If you don't know what that means, FHQ a building in Company of Heroes 1, and all you do is right-click it, and it decaps the building. That might do it. You know, you might need a change cost to be implemented there, but yeah, I hope I'm not rambling too much. Those are the big changes to Ploiesti Outskirts. I think after talking to guys like Bartertown, Ziswin, Nagano, Sea King, Elpern, just a lot of different guys have stepped up to help test and give feedback and generate replays for me. And everybody who's contributed to that, I really appreciate it. Tightrope and Stormless also, we're getting guys together to play. Sturm Tiger, Gaddafi, Big Daddy G also got people playing. And this last week, there's been like a big push to get a lot of replays and a lot of data generated on this map. And I really appreciate it to everybody. And I look forward to seeing some excellent matches in Master League on this. So, good luck to everybody, and we'll talk to you soon. Cheers.